What's going on, everyone, and happy Thursday. You guys know it's getting towards the end of the week, so let's make sure we end it on a great note. We have a lot to talk about today, like how Tesla has been taken to the woodshed today as it had one of its worst days since 2020. On another note, a sleeping giant, ticker symbol IBM, had its best day in 20 years, which is pretty crazy. And at the same time, we've been waiting for a couple weeks now with PayPal stock, as their CEO has been constantly saying that they're going to shock the world. And as you can see by the stock price today, they certainly did not. They fumbled the bag big time. So we have a lot to talk about today, and we have some great setups that we're going to cover so we could end this week in a green way. So with that being said, Tom, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, that market was kind of all over the place today, and there's kind of a double top going on end of day around 488 to 488.20. You guys can see right where the market's consolidating, right where it's hitting there. And this morning there was actually some great movement with the GDP data that came out, ended up coming in better than expected, and showed that the U.S. economy was growing at a 3.3% pace, which is a pretty good one, given especially everything everyone's been talking about lately with the U.S. economy. So those stocks were moving up this morning, Mike, and we saw the chip stocks even going up more. NVIDIA, AMD were starting to move up early on, but man, something happened. The floodgates gave out, and I don't know if Tesla's selling pressure really started to add pressure onto the market or not, but boy, Tesla closed down 12%, and it really drug the market down middle of the day. I know SPY closed up green, but man, Tesla had one hell of a move.
Exactly, and here's the thing. It's like when we're talking about a powerhouse company like Tesla that has, some of the heaviest weight in the S&P 500, when you have it down 12% in a day, that has a pretty big direct bearish impact on the market overall. So it makes it a lot harder for other stocks to increase and let alone just hold their ground. But either way, people are I don't want to say completely jumping ship with Tesla. It's just, you guys know how the market is. It's like when things are great, everyone rushes in to buy the stock, and whenever there's that little sense of fear or uncertainty, everyone jumps out. But either way, Tesla stock is moving quite a bit, and we haven't seen a move like this with Tesla in quite a while. As we said just a couple minutes ago, it was one of its worst days since 2020.
Yeah, that is a pretty big stat. I honestly would have thought there would have been some worser days, maybe in 2022 or something along those lines, but I guess traders are getting really freaked out by their numbers right now. Those margins keep going down, and then what do? They announce a cheaper car that probably is going to have terrible margins again. So I don't know if that car will end up having terrible margins or not, but either way, they're talking about doing that cheaper car. I feel like that's the wrong path for them right now. They need to focus on their trucks. And looking at the stock, Mike, it's been following this big downwards trend for a long time. There's been a ton of hits right on this trend line. Recently, the stock tried to just get up above there a little bit. It rejected right back down, just like it did back in July of 23. So we're seeing that move back down into the trend. Hopefully it doesn't get back to the bottom of the range, which would be $100. That is way down there. I can't believe we're even at 180 today. I thought we would hold at 200 or somewhere around there, but that was such a brutal drop, and I think people are getting very worried about them in the short term. They've just been having so many issues, and it seems like they just are having issues clawing back as well. I think that they will get back over time, but it's going to take a while, right? Like, people need to get this stock at a cheaper price, and right now it's still a little bit too high for many people.
Exactly. And as a company, Tesla's doing a lot of great things, but you can't deny the fact that bears are in control of this stock in the short term. And Tom, looking at it going forward, right now the stock's right around 182. What do you see as critical make or break support and resistance points going forward?
Yeah, so today there were a couple key levels on the book map, and we were eyeing them up all day in Discord. We were watching 185 first. We can see that actually had a pretty big hit today and then eventually broke, and then we've moved all the way down to 180. Both of these areas were huge, and looking at the book map here, you can see that 180 had a ton of shares stacked up, and right as the stock gets close to there, it usually ended up running up off of that today. So really watch 180 tomorrow. Tesla's very overextended to the downside in the short term. We might continue to bounce up off of this level, but if 180 gives out, the floodgates might open and there might be a great downside opportunity. So watch 180. It's going to be huge, and watch 185 to the upside.
All right, sounds good. So keep a close eye on Tesla going forward. But Tom, we also have to talk about another pretty popular stock today, which is PayPal. And we said about their, shock the world announcement, not really doing too much shocking in a good way. But what actually happened with this stock today?
Yeah, they ended up not shocking the world, and that ended up getting hit very, very hard today. Now, I'm not going to say it was Tesla bad, right? It's not down 10%. Granted, they didn't have earnings, though, but they were down 3.67% at close, which I thought was a pretty bad move by them, especially whenever they were expected to shock the world, right? But looking at the articles and just looking at everything overall, they're saying that there's huge monetization opportunity. I would say more of over time. I feel like that this is something that just didn't wow investors in the short term. I was thinking all types of stuff with PayPal here. I was thinking maybe they would try to do some extra crypto stuff or maybe something better with AI. But in reality, they announced a few things with AI. They announced like one-click checkouts, kind of like what Amazon has. But at the end of the day, they did not impress the stock market, and the stock fell. And looking at PayPal's chart, they fell down to a big support, right around $59 to $60, where we've seen a bunch of bounces up in the past. So it's not all doom and gloom yet for them. They're still right on support, but definitely a negative move today.
Yeah, so it's like, at the end of the day, it's just like their event was way too overhyped, and they just like overhyped it, and what they actually delivered wasn't all that. Looking at PayPal right now, in the grand scheme of things, they're still trading at a good valuation, but similar to Tesla, in the short term, the bears are in control. So going forward with this one, it's hard to short it given how low it is in the grand scheme of things. But in a perfect world, I would love to see PayPal get hammered down even more. And then eventually I would just like buy the dip on this one. But it ultimately depends on, how everything ends up playing out. But for now, I'll just keep a close eye on this one going forward.
Yeah, I think that buying the dip would be a great opportunity. And I look at some of these levels that it's been bouncing off of lately, like maybe 59 to 60, like where we bounced today. There's also $57. And then the recent low as of last year was down around 50. If we could get back down there, that would be a great, great opportunity to maybe dip buy it with some shares or even some like long dated call options. But I'll definitely keep my eyes on PayPal, Mike. It's a pretty interesting situation. And I know another stock, IBM, had one hell of a run today. I know that Tesla was down, but IBM was kind of propping the markets up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, since when do we talk about IBM, right? And this stock is, it definitely caught a lot of attention today, and it was its best day in like 20 years, which is great to see. And they reported earnings, and a lot of hype flew into this one. But either way, going forward, it's up a lot in the short term, so I wouldn't like swing trade it at this point. But for a day trade, there's nothing wrong with riding that short-term wave of giant bullish buying pressure.
Yeah, it had a good move today. It's kind of basing right off of support, right at 189 to 190. You can see that this is where it hit in pre-market or after hours. It ended up kind of basing off. So if we continue to bounce up off of there, maybe could be a good ride up to 196 and then maybe a move up to 200 or so. With so many stocks moving up lately, I could see IBM continuing with that bullish pressure. There's been so many great continuations lately. Even stocks like Microsoft were making new all-time highs again this morning. It just seems like every single day these stocks are continuing lately. So until this buying pressure stops, I mean, short-term opportunities up are really the way to go right now. But I'll be honest, Mike, I'm just waiting for some of these stocks to turn over. Not necessarily IBM, though. They're if we actually go out to a daily and we go out long-term on IBM, they're actually recovering up pretty well. They've been down in the dumps for like 10 years or so.
Right? It's crazy. Sleeping giant, right? But going into tomorrow, there aren't too many like crazy events we have to worry about. Like in terms of like the economic data schedule, we have some like personal income and personal spending data 1 hour before the market opens, along with PCE data. And then we do have a couple earnings reports before open, but again, nothing too crazy. So we're basically all clear for, just some good old price action trading, right? So let's get into some setups for tomorrow. A stock I'm watching pretty closely right now is ExxonMobil, and this is a stock that we talked about quite a bit this week, and for good reason, as it has been blasting in a very consistent way, and it's up around 2.5% on the day, which, you know, is a decent amount. But when you look at the options on this one, you know, these call options are up anywhere from 300 to 700% on the day off of a 2.5% move in the stock. So that's pretty big. So I am watching ExxonMobil to the upside for tomorrow as well. But a crucial component of this setup is just seeing the same sort of price action that we saw with ExxonMobil over the past couple days. We want to see that continue going into tomorrow. You want to see constant pressure on that high of day, and you want to see it, holding its levels in a very strong way. So I have some close eyes on this one going into tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun stock in the short term. We're starting to see crude oil uptrend again a little bit, and this stock's taking, good advantage of that, coming up to 102, breaking above 100 today. So I'll be watching it into tomorrow as well, Mike. With my first play, I'm going with another stock that is on fire in the short term. That is Delta Airlines, up 5.2% today, and there's almost a double top that we can play. So if it breaks the high of day around $40.30, go ahead and look at calls. These airlines have been on one hell of a run lately, and DAL is actually coming up off of a bit of a recent dip. So I'll be watching it for that nice breakout tomorrow, and hopefully it can fill that gap back up to like 41.50 to 42.
Sounds great. All right, another stock I'm watching pretty closely is AMAT, or Applied Materials, and this one is selling off a little bit right now. In the grand scheme of things, this one is, especially when you look on like a daily chart, it's up quite a bit. And what you'll notice, Tom, is like almost every time we see AMAT with a giant run up in the short term, when it has this like first initial red candle, just like it's having now, a lot of times it has like multiple red candles after the fact as well. So this is just like a short-term pattern I've noticed with this one, and it has happened quite a bit. So either way, I am going to be watching this one pretty closely in a bearish way over the next couple days.
Yeah, it looks pretty crazy here, coming down pretty hard, and even in after hours, it's starting to get some more negative movement. So hopefully it keeps moving down tomorrow for some nice action. And I'm going to go with something that might not be the most popular for tomorrow, but I'm going to look at QQQ to the downside. I noticed that today in the short term, it actually has some lower highs going on, which is pretty big. You can see right here, it only got up to like 429, whereas the other extension got very close to 430 up there. So I'm going to watch this one for a short-term downtrend with Tesla moving down and with Intel falling in after hours. I'm going to go ahead and watch, obviously, for QQQ to move. I think that some of the chip stocks might start following Intel down a little bit. And then I think QQQ will start to break like 424, maybe getting down to like 421 tomorrow if we see a great move. So, Mike, it's going to be a tough day tomorrow. Obviously, still be adaptable. If the stocks keep running, then I'm not going to be trading QQQ to the upside, but I'm definitely going to watch for that breakdown. I feel like that Tesla's down day was going to be kind of like what starts a short-term pullback, right? I don't necessarily think there's going to be a big downtrend here, but I can definitely see a couple days of selling.
There we go. All right, good stuff. Well, it's now about that time for the momentum plays. And with the first one, we have another airline stock, Tom, which is AAL, and it's to the upside.
Yeah, American Airlines, nice day for them. If they can break 1550, then look at calls.
Sounds good. With the next one, we have VXX, also to the upside.
Yeah, VXX is really fun short term. It was cool to see them moving up today. If they can break above 1470, then look at calls.
Alrighty, and with the last one, we have the stock that everyone talks about on a daily basis, which is NVIDIA, for both directions.
Ooh, NVIDIA, yeah, pretty rough move today, and they're sitting right on support or right by it. So if they break under 608, go ahead and look at puts. 610 is a pretty big area, but that low of day at 608 will be what I look at for puts. If they're able to get above intraday resistance right around 618.15, then look at calls.
All right, so we have that upside level for calls, and we have the downside level for puts, and that's with NVIDIA. Don't forget about the upside levels with VXX and AAL. Again, as a recap, these three setups are only potential trades tomorrow if they break the levels Tom listed. You guys know the rules. If they don't break the levels, then don't trade the setups. These are momentum plays. You want to see a clean and strong break through the level and ride that breakout wave of momentum. But with that being said, it's now about that time for today's $1 million big money trade of the day, and we are looking at ticker symbol IAU. So IAU is a gold trust ETF, you can say, and basically, you know, it just follows the price of gold. And gold prices have been holding pretty steady over the past year, but they have slowed down quite a bit in the short term. But, you know, a lot of times investors resort to gold as like a safe haven asset in times when they just want, you know, a little bit extra protection. And given everything going on in the world right now, given the valuations of the market, given the fact that it's election year, given a bunch of other reasons, it can make a lot of sense why people might want to resort to safe haven assets right now. And in turn, today's big money trade was basically $1,089,000 into the IAU 36 strike call options that expire on July 19th of 2024. The call options are in the money. They have some time to them. It's a decent sized trade, so I like the setup quite a bit as long as you're willing to give it the time it needs. Of course, you know, IAU has a lot of potential to rise. It doesn't have to rise, but I think the overall risk reward is pretty good with this one.
Yeah, me too. And you know what I like about it is if we were looking at a nice intraday setup, we would go ahead and look at this and say, wow, there's a major resistance here on this chart, right around $39.50 to $40. If this starts to break to the upside, we might see a short-term run out of some metals here, like gold and silver and a couple others. But whenever I watch IAU, that's a big resistance. GLD has a resistance very similar to that, as does gold futures and just, you know, spot gold, etc. It's right at resistance. So if we're able to break that, I think it'll be a great play here. These calls are so deep in the money that, you know, these guys could just be holding for a while here. They have a lot of time, so we got to keep that in mind too. Gold could take a while to break this. It could take a few months, but if we do start to see like a black swan event happen and it's an election year, might be some more volatility with that, then I think this could be a great setup, Mike. And the big thing is just giving it that time it needs, I think.
Yeah, and another crucial thing to keep in mind is, like, you know, a great way to trade a setup like this is, you know, if you just like want to wait around a little bit and you can wait for a gold to get back to its like all-time high and then just enter the trade then, you know, because you could wait for a, you know, confirmed breakout just like you mentioned, Tom, and that can just make the probability of winning that much greater. So I think that's a pretty good thing to keep in mind as well. With IAU, you know, maybe you wait until... Maybe you set an alert right around like the $39.35 level to give yourself a little bit of a buffer. And then once it triggers that, then you could, you know, just keep an eye on it pretty closely.
Yeah, I'm actually going to add it right now, right at $39.29. So I'll have it ready. If you guys are in Discord, I'll post it up. But yeah, hey, that's another reason to join the Discord, Mike. If you guys want an alert from this, I'll post it whenever it gets there. But yeah, I'll be watching IAU for a while. And let's go out really quick to GC, which is the gold futures chart, because it's very similar, right? You can see that big resistance. I have the arrows all drawn out right there. And it's been tested. This is like the third or fourth touch now. It's got to break through soon.
Yeah, alrighty. And then you mentioned the Discord. If you guys are not already in the Stocked Up trading floor, you're missing out, and come join us. I want to give a giant shout out to today's Member of the Day, Rookie Trader. He's gotten Member of the Day quite a few times now, but he did a great job with Google today, so awesome job there. And as we scroll through the Profits channel, we had a bunch of people with some great days, whether it's Ricky Bobby or James or you could say Poppy Frio again, back to back. We scroll through the channel, we have Profit Hunter, Cornish. Hondo, let's go. So yeah, it was a great day. Come join us in the Stocked Up trading floor. It'll be that first link in the description and the comments down below. You can access all of our bots. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long. You can join our weekly live events. And I know I said this a couple days ago, but the development team and I have been cooking up some pretty awesome updates, and we're getting closer and closer to releasing them. And once these updates release, the prices definitely will increase. The way we do things around here is once you sign up, you lock in your price for life. So if the price rises in the future, it does not affect you. But like I said, guys, here's your warning. We're getting closer to these new updates coming along, and they're definitely going to turn some heads. So come join us. It'll be that first link in the description and the comments down below. But Tom, we have one more day left for the week. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, just be a little bit aware of that data 1 hour before the market opens. It could change things a little bit. You know, what if this comes in negative and then it just adds more selling to the market? Just be careful out there. I'm watching that QQQ support. If it starts to give out, I think puts could end up being pretty fun tomorrow, especially given how bad Tesla was today. We got to watch that 180 support, though, like we talked about on the book map. That is a major, major level where there's hundreds of thousands of shares literally stacked up there.
You know it. Well, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's end the week on a green note.